Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Triggered. I'm your host, Zachary Clark, and you all know my co-host, Adam Furman. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I also had a brilliant idea just now.
Oh, what is it?
I'll
Tell me. Tell me. I want
tell you after the
details.
show. I'll tell you after the
No,
show. We
no,
can
no.
record.
Flush out all of your ideas.
No, I'm not doing that right now. You can't. You can't make me.
Wait, it flew the wrong way. You punched all the way around the world. I did it again. Uh, got a good show for you tonight, folks. We really hope you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and grab yourself an ice cold beverage. Lots of stuff happening. We've had a couple weeks off. So now it's time to get back into it. Get back into the groove thing, baby. Getting back into the groove thing, baby. And that's why we're coming to you live. Straight from the deposition room where Biden gave his very good and successful deposition that had no memory loss at all and was completely coherent, as if he had the mind of a 27-year-old male.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here anymore.
Tonight's episode of Triggered is entitled, so that you know, my friend, Grandpa Joe and the Very Bad Day.
Oh, no.
So, it's very good. Actually, I don't even really have much about that other than I wanted to make fun of how old the president is, and so we'll do that a little bit here in a minute.
I thought he was working at Walmart.
You old Walmart greeter, you.
I didn't even know he'd show up today. I thought he died.
You're still alive? Wait, what's the next one? You say that one, Adam.
I don't remember.
It's the one that doesn't. It's the one that doesn't fit.
Oh, I'm not gonna say that. Because it's like,
Try to get you canceled. Oh, but no, Adam. I would never cancel you. Just like we will never cancel. Let's get Scan Radio.
you're having a literal seizure. I don't even know.
Scan Radio. 3651 Stardust Drive, Hannibal, Missouri. Vehicle fire in parking lot. Hannibal Fire Department en route, fully engulfed. Right there in the Lowe's parking lot. Oh my god, the humanity. Ugh. That's a Ford. I was actually expecting a Tesla. Whoa. Obviously not a Tesla. This is a lithium fire is about 100 times worse than this.
Would you be able to look at it, or would you be blinded instantly?
I don't know. Hold on, real quick. I
Yeah,
can find some info on this.
look at those welders.
Okay. Dundee.
Or a plasma cutter without the shield, the protective eye.
Oh, it just looks like a regular fire. It's not even exciting. No, not blinding. Not like a welding torch. Not putting off UV radiation that will make your retinas peel off if you don't wear your welding mask.
It will be considered a brown site, though, right?
Oh, what? A bronze site?
Brownfield, brown site, whatever they're called.
Brown Drug. Get your prescription drugs filled at Brown Drug here in Quincy, Illinois. Established in 1879, Brown Drug has been a community fixture for the past 150 years. Brown Drug, where you can get all your drugs. Anyway, we had a Groundhog Day come and go. Happy Groundhog Day, folks. Early spring predicted by the various groundhogs. Didn't know this. But not just Puxatawny Phil and Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, but there's actually Groundhog Day ceremonies celebrated all across the great nation of America, including one in Woodstock, Illinois.
Oh, sweet deal.
Woodstock, Illinois' groundhog, which is called, I don't remember. Let's look real quick. Woodstock, Illinois.
Chunky McChunks.
Groundhog name.
Is it the one that the two bears fighting?
Woodstock Willie.
That's good.
A local plump groundhog who lives in the far northwest suburb of Woodstock, where the famous 1993 film Groundhog Day was actually filmed. Woodstock Willie also predicted, there was a confluence of predictions by various groundhogs, also predicted an early spring.
You know what, Zach? I predict an early spring too.
I did predict or experience one because following the Groundhog Day predictions, it was unseasonably warm. We had 60-degree weather here in central Illinois. In early February, that is, just like completely strange thing to encounter. But then today, spring unsprung. And we got a few inches of snow on the ground. People's radishes were already coming up, and now they're going to get all frozen. Strawberries ravaged by the cold. Oh, no. Where was this in your prediction? Woodstock Willie? You didn't say that early spring would then be followed by winter, too. Don't know who to trust anymore. These damn groundhogs don't even know what they're talking about. Not to mention that, but witchcraft is punishable by death, and they should all be executed.
They make comfy glove liners.
I don't know about that. Inbox! We have 3 inbox reports of people going door to door, saying they're from Ameren, the power company, or your electric company if you don't have Ameren because you've already been scammed by someone into going off of the power company's plan. Scammed by your very own city government, some of us. Just wanted, just wanted to let you know, two people looking like Dumb and Dumber going around the north side of Quincy asking for your Amarin bill. Just didn't want anyone else falling for the scam. Implied in there that they had fallen for the scam and given them their power bill to give them a foot in the door in order to convince them to switch over to some sort of electricity provider plan, even though there is only one power generation company in like 200-mile radius of here.
Would it be a scam, or would you just make a poor decision for your family?
I don't know. I really don't know what would change. You should seriously still get the juice from the same guys. I don't know what the provider does. I don't understand.
No, I think it's the supplier and then the deliverer, right? It's the same deliverer but different providers.
Dude, I don't know. As I said, I don't get it. It's
Oh,
the
that
same lines. The guy next door can't have different juice than me. I suck off the same teat as everybody on this block.
No, Zach. There's a clearinghouse somewhere. There we go.
Oh no. This isn't a bank.
It is something like that. There's like a energy clearinghouse.
I don't get it.
Some of those guys came to my place once, and I'm like, get off my property. Who are you? What are you trying to scam me out of? You're not even legally allowed to be here. And then he's like, well, no, I can do that. I'm like, how do you suppose that you can do that? He's like, well, you're the first person to ask about this, but as we talked about with asking questions and stuff earlier today or yesterday, he had a City of Quincy solicitation permit. I mean, whether or not that's real or not.
I can print one of those out for you in 5 minutes.
But we'll say tier 2 scammers, if any scammer, not just a guy going around being like, hey, give me your routing number.
Anyway, I might get your bank account number, routing number, address, anything that might be included on a personal check. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. Nowadays, I feel weird because I think that if I had a canceled check of someone, I could steal their identity and start passing e-checks.
Yeah.
Anywhere where e-checks are accepted. Because they just ask for your routing number and your account number, and those are on the bottom of your check.
Right.
I don't know how it works. I don't know how modern day works. I've stopped trying to learn new things. I just want everything to go back. I just want everything to go back to the simpler time.
Remember that Catch Me If You Can? You write a check, like it takes, like a week in order for the account funds to move. Why can't we go back to that?
I think that's true, though. I think that is sort of how it happens. Like, if you write a paper check, and then somebody has to, cash it at the bank and do the thing, then it does take that long. Still, to this very day. But a lot of places go to e-checks. You have your check, and they just run it through the machine, and it does an electronic transfer using the check's information.
Yes.
Instantaneous, like a debit card.
Correct. That's what they switched it when I used to work at Target as a teenager. That was it. It was basically an e-check. So you actually handed the check back to the person.
Yeah. Which doesn't make sense based on my understanding of how the checks work. But don't let a guy who's read the UCC try to tell you how checks work. He knows that.
No, don't, because you're like, this is how it works. I got mine. You're like, no, it's this and this and this, and then person who's in it's like, nah, that's not how it works.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I've read the UCC.
It's like a 10-1 form, and then it does the thing, and then it like instantaneously goes to hundreds of other things, and it does what it's supposed to do.
And I'm sure there's a clearinghouse involved in there someplace.
4-301 says this. 4-301, there's no form. 4-301, that's nothing.
I have it right here, and here's the statutory reference that shows its applicability.
Yeah, no, and then you're like, dear regulator, how is this applied in real life? And I'm like, we just tell our banks to do. Fill out this form instead.
Suffering. That is all that does for me, is make me suffer greatly. Wait, Adam. There's an update here. 6:45 p.m. Someone pulled a gun on an electric sales rep on McKinney Street in Trailer Town, 1720 North 12th. QPD on scene.
Pulled a gun on who?
One of these guys going around.
Oh.
He knocked on a door in Trailer Town, trying to see if he can take a look at their Ameren bill. And obviously what would have happened if he tried to do something like that happened and someone pulled a gun on him and told him to beat it. I ain't showing you my electric bill. You can get out of here. Ugh. So that was exciting. I wish they'd come to my house. They came to my house one time. I actually can't remember if it was them or somebody else. But I told them, I'm like, this is what my deal is, and this is my bill. I'm like, that is pretty good. You can't match that. And I'm like, sounds good. See you later. Get out of here, pal!
Before I go get my gun.
I'm gonna get my gun! Yeah.
I got one of them illegal ones we can keep.
I found my papers. This gun's completely legal. Rat-tat-tat.
Listen, I don't need no. I don't need no guns. I got my composite bow.
This here one of those. This here crossbow's got 900 pounds of foot force going right through your face if you don't take one step back.
I thought you were going to say your ass.
I'm sorry, sir. I just wanted to help you save some money on your power bill.
I wanted to save you $2.61. Sorry.
That's like $24 a year, and you know how many milkshakes you can buy. I warned you! Get yourself off my porch! You shot me, I'm dying! Get out of here!
Why are you just laying there, kid?
I can't, you shot me. He's like, alright, twang. Oh, God. You're gonna be looking like a porcupine here in about 30 seconds, son. Pop, pop.
We need more armed citizenry.
We need to put the president in a retirement home. Special counsel released a results and recommendation of non-prosecution in the investigation of classified documents held unsecurely by a former administrative official and current administrative official. You thought I was talking about Trump, but no way, son. It's Joe Biden. What? Wasn't Trump the one that got Trump when he was under indictment on like 900 counts of document violations? That's right, but the current president also did the exact same thing and is facing no prosecution. I guess they determined that he didn't do anything wrong, Adam.
Oh, I don't know if that's true.
I guess they decided that he was completely in the right for the way that he treated documents.
Zach, you should probably talk about prosecutorial discretion.
There is evidence that after his vice presidency, Mr. Biden willfully retained marked classified documents about Afghanistan and unmarked classified handwritten notes in his notebooks, both of which he stored in unsecured places in his home. The exact same crimes that his main political rival is currently on trial for. Oh, well, if they've got him dead to rights, Adam, I'm sure that the charges are pending, and I just misheard that he wasn't going to be facing any charges. What's this? We have considered that at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Based on our direct interactions with and observations of him, he is someone for whom many jurors would want to identify reasonable doubt. It would be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him. By then, a former president, well into his 80s, of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. Oh, so the President of the United States of America, the current sitting president, the commander of the armed forces of this great land, can't be prosecuted because he's too old and feeble. Mr. Biden's memory also appeared to have significant limitations, both at the time he spoke to an investigator in 2017, as evidenced by their recorded conversations, and today, as evidenced by his recorded interview with our office. Mr. Biden recorded conversations with the investigator in 2017 that are often painfully slow, with Mr. Biden struggling to remember events and straining at times to read and relay his own notebook entries. In his interview with our office, that is the interview in modern day, Mr. Biden's memory was worse. He did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting the first day of the interview when his term ended. If it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? He asked the interviewers. And forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began, saying, in 2009, am I still vice president? ? He did not remember even within several years when his son Beau had died. And his memory appeared hazy when describing the Afghanistan debate that was once so important to him. Among other things, he mistakenly said he had a real difference of opinion with General Carl Eikenberry, when in fact Eikenberry was an ally whom Mr. Biden cited approvingly in his Thanksgiving memo to President Obama. In a case where the government must prove that Mr. Biden knew he had possession of a classified Afghanistan documents after the vice presidency and chose to keep those documents, knowing he was violating the law, we expect that at trial, his attorneys would emphasize these limitations of recall. He has a built-in defense for being a feeble-minded old dementia patient who can't remember anything. Hold on a second. That feeble-minded dementia patient that can't remember anything is the President of the United States, Adam.
I hate this episode already, Zach.
Oh, what do you hate about it? Here. We have a rebuttal submitted by White House counsel saying that all of this is completely fine and they didn't mean it and they shouldn't have been commenting on this stuff anyway. We do not believe that the report's treatment of President Biden's memory is accurate or appropriate. Why would this be appropriate? It's just the key reason to why they don't press charges against him.
I'm
But
gonna
not.
say it's literally why they're not pressing charges when they found evidence.
The report uses highly prejudicial language to describe a commonplace occurrence among witnesses, a lack of recall of years-old events. Yes, like when I was vice president, when the years of my terms were, and when my son died. I just can't recall those years-old events. Such comments have no place in the Department of Justice report. Particularly one in the first paragraph announces that no criminal charges are warranted and that the evidence does not establish Mr. Biden's guilt. Completely mischaracterizing the report.
As no,
If the evidence does not establish guilt, the evidence does not establish guilt because he cannot be proven to be guilty because his feeble, dementia-addled mind cannot be reasonably shown to have retained the required mens rea.
yeah, that's the intent and stuff. It's not the fact that he actually had the stuff.
Then discussing the jury impact of President Biden's hypothetical testimony at trial will never occur and is entirely superfluous, except for it's the entire foundation on why the charges aren't dropped. So you sort of need that part in the report. In fact, there is ample evidence from your interview that the president did well in answering your questions about years-old events over the course of 5 hours. He can't be expected to speak with someone for 5 hours. He's the president of the United States. This is especially true under the circumstances, which you do not mention in your report, that his interview began on the day after the October 7th attacks on Israel. Like, this makes it better. In the lead up to the interview, the president was conducting calls with heads of state, cabinet members, members of Congress, and meeting repeatedly with his national security team. Yes, that's right. The president of the United States, well, dementia-addled and unable to recall basic facts of his life, was quarterbacking an international crisis. That's right.
Right there.
Oh, so really got in there, White House counsel. Really drove home the nails right in the coffin. But that's not all, because the president couldn't let this lie. We won't stand for this. Some people thinking that he can't remember things. Old Joe Biden's got a mind like a steel trap. Spry, young, virile, and articulate. The special counsel released today its findings about its look into my handling of classified documents. I was pleased, and I'm sure he wrote this by himself. Probably dictated it, plain as day, to that nice young press secretary of his. I was pleased to see they reached the conclusion I believed all along they would reach. That they would determine that I was too feeble-minded and dementia to be able to convince a jury of my guilt. That there would be no charges brought in this case, and the matter is now closed. Is it closed? Hard to say. This was an exhaustive investigation going back more than 40 years, even into the 70s when I was a young senator. I cooperated completely, threw up no roadblocks, and sought no delays. In fact, I was so determined to give the special counsel what they needed that I went forward with 5 hours of in-person interviews over 2 days on October 8th and 9th of last year, even though Israel had just been attacked on October 7th and I was in the middle of handling an international crisis. That's right, he was handling an international crisis while he was unable to have a functioning mind. I just believed that's what I owed the American people. So they could know no charges would be brought and the matter closed. even though the reason that they can't be brought and the matter is closed isn't because I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, they established that I had. It's just that they couldn't prove it based on my dementia-addled mind. Over my career in public service, I have always worked to protect America's security. I take these issues seriously, and no one has ever questioned that, except for everyone who's constantly questioning it, including the conclusions in the report that said that you, in fact, did not take it seriously and had classified documents unsecured in your private residence, and that they can't prosecute that because your dementia-addled mind provides a built-in defense for you. Oh, curious. Hard to say what all this could mean because they put up such a staunch defense of the president's mental acuity as to counteract his primary defense from the report, leading many to conclude that, well, if that's the case, then maybe he ought to be prosecuted for these crimes he's been shown to have committed and would be prosecuted for, but for his dementia-addled mind, which he seems to say isn't an issue.
It's good, Zach. It's like isn't there a term for that?
Catch-22.
Ooh, there we go.
I had one more thing on this. I can't remember where I put it, though. So we're going to click through here a little bit. Oh, yes, here we go. Even today, the president is still dealing with the blowback on the Hur report on his mental acuity. People raising questions about whether or not the president, who has had for the entirety of his term so far, been given pre-screened press pool questions and the orders in which they would be asked. But the press just now is seemingly waking up to the fact that they... even though it wasn't plausible to anyone paying attention, that they can no longer plausibly deny that there's something wrong going on here.
There's there's a shift happening about this.
I think that as soon as this blows over, they'll start ignoring it again, because that's just the way it's been going for the past 3 years. But the president had more to say. President Joe Biden lashed out at Robert Hur last week over one particular line in the special counsel's report on his handling of classified documents that Biden did not remember even within several years when his son Beau died. How the hell dare he raise that? Biden told reporters in an impromptu White House press conference. Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
Yes. Ooh, the cuss word, right?
Yeah. When an elderly man that can't remember things angrily lashes out at people when they point that out, when they realize that their mind is failing, this isn't definitely just another sign that they are in fact plagued by elderly dementia and need help. But Hur never asked that question.
Have you read that Hideous Strength yet, or no?
No, I read the Screw Tape letters, which was great.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing, but yes, it is also great. Anyway, sorry to...
But guess what?
Elderly, addled mind, vacant mind, possessed mind. It just reminded me of that Hideous Strength.
I am planning on it at some point, but I can't read very good anymore, so it impacts my ability to read for recreation. Frankly, so he said that he thought to himself that wasn't any of their damn business when they asked him that question. But Hur never asked that question. That was not a question that was asked. So this was an entire dementia fabrication that this question was even asked in the first place. Because according to two people familiar with Hur's 5-hour interview with the president over 2 days last October, it was the president, not Hur or his team, who first introduced Beau Biden's death, they said.
Yeah, he probably used it as a defense too, like, can't you believe you're even doing this? when I had my son who died in Iraq or whatever, and it wasn't that.
He didn't even die in Iraq or whatever, but he always says
he,
that. Isn't that the
yeah,
thing?
he's a narcissistic liar.
I think that it might just be that he has a dementia-addled brain.
No, dude. No, dude. Not after I saw when I learned about the his tiny lies regarding his law school stuff, and then also the photo op of his after his wife died and his kid was bedridden in the hospital. I'm like, no, this guy's evil.
Evil, I don't know. I do know that he's a sick old man, and he probably shouldn't be the president of the United States. But then again, I guess the only options we're going to have this year are one sick old man or another. So it's difficult to use that as a justification for voting for one or the other primary candidates for office.
Hey, you never know. We might have a option between one sick old man and a spry young lady as a presidential nominee.
Who's that?
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley? When she running independent? She better get on those petitions. I don't know how the timeline works, but I lightly follow Robert Kennedy's independent campaign because I think that that's my favorite possible scenario in the current environment is that everybody's just like, all right, we've had enough. I'm going with that guy, that other guy.
And that never works. Every time, I mean, it's basically a vote deal, right? Every single time.
It's only worked once.
When?
George Washington? He was independent. He didn't have a party. He didn't believe in political parties.
Was it even a party then? Did he even run against anyone?
I'm sure he did.
I don't think he did.
Oh my gosh. Hank, you're doing a lot of Googling tonight. George Washington first presidential election. Okay. In 1789, George Washington sit presidency, fait accompli. Wonderful strategic guy. Doesn't say who's running. There's a map. There was a number of candidates.
Nah.
Before the ratification of the 12th Amendment, nations were cast to vote for two different candidates. The candidate with the highest number of votes became president, while the candidate with the second highest total became vice president. Washington came away with 69 electoral votes. John Adams with 34. John Jay with 9. Harrison 6.
How much did Washington get?
69.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Maybe that's why that number's got such popularity in modern day culture.
100%.
It's baked into the very fabric of the nation.
That's what I'm going to always use.
So he did. He ran against John Adams, Jay, and I don't know because I don't think it really worked.
60. I was like, yeah, George Washington's electoral win.
They didn't really have campaigns back then, as chronicled in the hit Broadway musical Hamilton. It was distasteful to actively campaign. They abandoned that fairly quickly when they realized how effective it was at obtaining political power and influence. And all downhill from there, my friends. Hey, what time is it, Hank? Oh my gosh, we've already been talking for 52 minutes. really be sure about that. Where does I should have a timer set someplace.
Yeah, we started fairly on time, I think. At least it wasn't because I was late. It wasn't late this time, so maybe we started 5 to 8 minutes late.
I think
Not due to
think
me being late, due to me talking as usual.
30. I think we're at 36 minutes, so about 37 minutes right now. All right, we still have time. Plenty of time to discuss Valentine's Day. And Happy Valentine's Day. Would you like to read a long essay about divorce? No. Goodbye. Not interested. No, thank you.
I will say and I don't know if this was planned or not. I think it might have been quasi-planned. I follow Brad Wilcox on Twitter or X, and he released his book called Get Married. On Valentine's Day was his release date, and that's kind of how I pitched it. It's like, hey, Valentine's Day, marriage, and it's like the best way to better your life. And regardless if you're a man or a woman, is to get married. And it shows all the stuff, and so I'm excited to read it. I was a patron of that rather than, would you like to read this essay on how I'm a terrible person? No, I do not.
I think that, I don't know. I did actually skim it, but not on Valentine's Day because, like I said, no thank you. But it was mostly about how this lady had a mental health crisis and is just a really, basically insane person.
I have so much to say on that, and we, like you said, we're already at 37 minutes in.
So it was mostly that. It wasn't even really about divorce. She had like a mental health breakdown. She had to be hospitalized at one point. Put on lithium. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this is about divorce. Everybody's freaking out about it. There's a bunch of hot takes about these kind of people, and I'm just like, yeah, insane people that
I don't know. I didn't read
blow
it.
up their own lives.
I saw the comments like, this isn't about divorce. It's about you having a mental breakdown.
Yeah,
and
it is.
The comment was that she really didn't see that it wasn't about her marriage was falling apart or whatever. It's just that she, as a person, was falling apart, and she didn't have the self-assessment to recognize it. Or she had like the awareness. I don't know. I didn't read it because I'm like, I have other things.
She was in like 3 kinds of therapy. She was on mental health drugs that are supposed to help people. She was having friends come to her and ask her, what are you doing? What's going on? Her husband's begging her to stop doing these things. Please stop blowing up our life. And she was just off the rails in a clearly manic and then depressed. She was like, doing the thing, doing the borderline personality disorder gravy train. And
borderline or bipolar?
I don't know what's the difference. What is borderline?
So borderline is you have like touches of each of the personality disorders. It's like borderline. So you've got like, 8 personality disorders that exist, and you have like the pieces of all of them.
I'd say that's probably true. she just has a whole bucket of crap wrong with her.
Yeah. Okay. That's like the Satan's kid.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, she was describing how like she, I don't know, because obviously you can't. This is a self-report from an obviously unstable person, and so you have to take their own descriptions of things with a large amount of salt. It's like pour it in your eyes. But she said that she was triggered because her husband wrote a book and was having it published about raising their son. And she had been the one who published books. And now he was publishing a book, and she couldn't get over this. And so she was feeling bad about it. And she was trying to put on appearances and planning a publishing party and stuff, but in her mind, she was resentful and hateful and it was breaking her down. So she went to her psychiatrist and she says, having a tough time, could you give me some more of those drugs that are supposed to make me mentally healthy? And she started taking them, and then she went into describing what was clearly a manic phase where her brain was moving so fast and she couldn't believe other people's brains couldn't move as fast as hers. So in order to slow down her fast moving brain, she had to start drinking.
Oh, that's horrible.
So she was
Spirit knows me no more.
and it just continued to spiral out of control until everything was in ruins. And then at the bottom, her husband didn't leave her, and she didn't leave him, but they in fact reconciled, and describes the most uncomfortable description of a husband and wife making love that I've ever had the displeasure of reading. Do not recommend, don't read it. It will haunt my days until I go home to the Lord.
and he purges my memory.
Oh. I don't know. How much will I remember? Well, I'll probably remember everything, but I'll be able to, like, perfectly understand it all, and it'll be like, I'll be just at peace. That's what...
You'll be able to block the bad things.
I don't know. I think that you'll see them all, but you'll see them in the context.
I guess, I don't know, would recollection of sin be... That wouldn't be a sin of itself.
No. I don't know, because I don't know how the new creation is supposed to be. I don't know what heaven is like in the interim period. It's very mysterious. But at some point in time, after the resurrection, when we're all restored and living in the New Jerusalem, it will be impossible to sin somehow. And I don't know how that's supposed to work. Because, presumably, in the beginning, Adam, when God created the heavens and the earth, and on day 6, mankind, and then someday after that, they decided that that one rule... Are there just going to be no rules? Because I don't think that could be the case.
I don't know. I think that there's something about the indwelling of the Holy Spirit and that it's the glorification of the body and the mind.
Didn't the Spirit get breathed into the Adam at the beginning?
But that wasn't like... That was like the breath of life, not the actual indwelling of the Holy Spirit. The dwelling always was like tabernacle, temple, what have you, until the resurrection and then like Pentecost. That is when, and you can hear when they're up in the room and it talks about the wind and there's a couple other. I'm blanking on the story, but that is when that's like the indwelling.
So we have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, the new creation, our souls and flesh and spirit bound together.
Body is the temple, so now we are the tabernacle. It lives within us, and I think that that's the key in like the full glorification of our bodies. I don't know. I'm with you. I'm like, I don't know. This is my theory. I'm sure I'm the only one to ever think about this.
It's probably like I don't know. I'll have to probably adopt Luther's stance and just be like, to contemplate such things is wrong.
I guarantee you that the early church fathers and stuff thought about this and whatnot. So
yeah, but those guys were wrong about so much.
I don't think so. They were right a lot.
I'm sure they were right about a lot of things, but they were also wrong about a lot of things, and there was a bunch of heresies and whatever that sprung up. They had to have several ecumenical councils to try to address all these things these crazy guys were saying in the first 3 centuries. And it's like, well, I don't know. And even the apostles themselves, not without fault or error. Except for when they were sitting in cathedra and issuing edicts.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you say? Are you saying that something was wrong? Are you saying that the gates of hell did prevail against the church?
No, I'm sola scriptura, so it's real.
Oh. Speaking of interesting theological questions, here's one for the ages. A puzzler, I think, that even the early church fathers, even the apostles themselves, would not be able to puzzle out. If all demons and angels teamed up, do you think they could defeat God?
Zach, I'm going to tell you one thing that's possible.
No, I know, this is r/Christianity. It's Reddit.
There's a couple reasons why it's impossible.
Tell me. I don't want you to take this completely serious.
I thought, like, my knee-jerk reaction was literally one of the angels is God. Like, impossible. It's you're like, what if this guy was Gullible? It's just like, it's impossible. Are we talking about nonsense?
No, and defeating him because he's a guy in heaven, and so they could defeat him like you could defeat any other guy.
Like Zeus, right?
Just stab the eternal God, creator of the universe, with a sword, and he's gone. Bingo. See, look, Kerpop 42, and it has this excerpt. A scholar from the thread. He says, "You should write that story. I bet it would be awesome. I've seen some cool takes about why we should respect God less. I don't agree with them, but it can be very cathartic." That's probably a warning. The problem of evil. What happens if angels decided that God was, in fact, to blame for the suffering of the world? I think they did.
What indeed? What indeed?
The act of sacrificing an innocent does not, in fact, redeem the flawed and is inherently evil. Even when you sacrifice yourself, you are committing an evil act. There is no greater love than this, Adam. To not sacrifice yourself, because that would be evil, and to let them figure it out on their own.
And then something overlooked about, like, well, this guy didn't overlook it. That's what he calls him, a scholar in mocking. But like, he uses these morality and value judgments and labeling things as evil or good, and literally no standard used for these things. It's evil to do so. Why do you say that? It just is. All right, dude.
You just know it. You can feel it in your heart. Like there's just something inbound in creation that tells you that something is evil or not. Let's unpack that for a second. But thirdly, God created the world, but that does not inherently give him authority over it. Therefore, it is just to fight to overthrow him.
Yes, you should write this story. You should write this story. It's good versus evil, and this is Satan's motivation.
I think that's overplayed too, because I feel like that story's been written so many times. It's just like Satan is the good guy. Actually, he wasn't bad at all. He actually has good points.
It's coming.
Yeah, father of lies, who was a murderer from the start. He's the good guy. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. That's only if you believe what Jesus Christ said. Who was he? Oh, the incarnate God. If you believe the tales. Spaghetti monster, polyester shellfish. Terrible.
It's like, look, oh yeah, polyester shellfish. What the hell are you talking about? I know your play.
Oh. Well, all I know is that a lot of these problems would probably go away if we could go back to the way things were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Back in the golden era of our civilization. Back before whatever happened that the Mayan calendar unlocked and unleashed upon us in 2012. But people are always saying, they say, late 90s and 2000s wasn't that great. You're just being nostalgic. However, the late 90s and early 2000s respond with the U.S. teen and young adult suicide rates, which were miraculously at their lowest ebb in like a 40-year period.
You can trace that trend line, and it's like it went down. Such a shame. We had a good Zach.
Oh, so good. This is what counselors need to be, though. Doc, I'm feeling depressed, maybe even suicidal. Call that man over there a slur. What? Here's some Sobe. Take this once a day while listening to this Papa Roach album. Also, here's a copy of Halo 2 and some hair gel. I don't understand. Trust the science, bro. Trust the science.
Listen to this Papa Roach.
This is Walter Creed Medical Center.
Last resort, Zach. It's just...
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no bleeding. Don't give up if I cut my arm bleeding.
Oh, there's Papa Roach in the background there, too.
Yeah, Papa Roach poster. I think it's album art. Halo 2 poster. Sobe Vitamin Water. This is Walter Creed Medical Center. You're going to be just fine, soldier. Can you take me higher? Wait till these kids discover Creed again. It's going to be all over for depression. To the place where blind men see.
We're demonetized from your free note.
We had a DMCA strike against your latest video. It was like our Shazam robots identified it as the perfect rendition of Creed's Higher. I know, guys. Don't be jelly. Alright, where are we at?
Who are they going on tour with?
I can't remember who all is on the 90s Creed cruise. 90s
Dude,
Creed
blank. And then, like, I saw Daughtry. I can't remember what that... I can't remember.
The summer of 99 cruise is the Creed cruise. 3 Doors Down.
3 Doors Down, that was it.
Buck Cherry. Tonic. Vertical Horizon. Fuel. The Verve Pipe. Tantric. Dishwalla. Louis Post 9 days, and uh, Veruca Salt.
I don't know.
No, Louis Post of Veruca Salt. Louis Post is a guy, and then Sugar the New Metal Party. That's week 1. Week 2 is also sold out, but it had Daughtry, and then also Buck Cherry Tonic, Funeral Horizon Fuel, the Verve Pipe Tantric, etc., etc. All headlined by Creed, of course, over this 2 weeks of the Creed Cruise, summer of '99, and beyond. I can't believe I couldn't get on the Creed Cruise. I couldn't talk Allison into it.
Oh, that man a slur. Here's a Stovey. You'll be fine.
Call that man a slur. What? What? Drink this, Sophie. Get in this Halo 2 multiplayer lobby. Just start shouting the gamer word. You'll feel so much better. I don't know. I mean, alternatively, it could just be that we're doomed. But maybe that's just me, Adam. Maybe I just think that I'm too smart to be, and too financially aware, and too tech savvy to fall for a scam where a guy pretends I had my identity stolen and that my social security number was compromised, and in order to contradict this, I needed to withdraw $50,000 in cash from my bank and then give it to an unnamed person in an unmarked car.
You have $50,000 in the bank?
I'll have to call my 401k and get an emergency loan. It's my personal identity. It's not safe with my 401k trustee. I've got to get it out of the bank and put it into a shoebox and hand it through the window of an unmarked car to a person that I've never met before to keep it safe. As if having cash just sitting in a shoebox itself wasn't safe enough from whatever kind of electronic identity theft I might be suffering. But no, that's the story of one person from The Cut on in her latest tale about how she got scammed out of $50,000. Charlotte Cowles.
No. Nope. Not today.
Did the whole thing and handed the money through her car window without even telling her husband.
Is this the same one that had the mental health breakdown?
No, different one. But they're both going through something. It's completely implausible. Makes no sense. And everybody's like, oh, don't be so hard on her. As Jessica Roy says, these scammers are pros. It's easy to read this on paper and see all the red flags. But when they've talked to you for hours and flooded you with adrenaline, psychically and emotionally exhausting you before pivoting to the scam, it's a different story. I don't know. As soon as the guy said, you need to go to your bank and get $50,000 in cash out, and then you put it in a box and hand it to a stranger because that's going to keep your money safe. I don't know. I am of the maybe it's because I'm a chronic optimist. There ain't no way, no way, ain't no way anybody I know would do that. It boggles my mind. I'm just trying to think. Even children I know would be like, I'm not. That's a lot of money. It's my cash. We could buy all kinds of doodads and whatnots and ice creams with that money. They giving it to some stranger. But it was shocking to read, and I've come to the only conclusion was that she was actually either being blackmailed and came up with this as an excuse.
Oh,
And
that's
in order to sell it to her husband, it went so far as to publish the story. I had to
that's a,
do it. I was just tricked. You can't blame me. I was protecting our son somehow. But there's something more to this, underlying this story, and I believe that it was nefarious. But I'm also with Tweetman. If we just take it at its face value, I could see me getting scammed a bit. You know, I've been known to be overly nice to the panhandler. The guy at the Chicago Union Station who showed me when I got lost how to get to the food court. I gave him $10 because why not? Homeless grifter guy. He didn't break my heart when he didn't want to sit down and have dinner with me, though. I offered to buy him some food. He declined. And I said, I'm just alone here at the train station.
did you really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll buy you a pizza or whatever at the... What is it? What's the place? Sabaro?
Let's go with that.
Yeah, I don't
Go
remember.
tomorrow and you get your Sobe.
Yeah.
Hey guy, you want to listen to some Papa Roach? Pass.
Yeah.
Take your $10 back.
Yeah. I should have been really bothering him. Be like, I got you. I know. I got to repay you. Come on, guy. God, have a slice with old Zach here. Thanks for all your assistance. But no, he declined. I can't even talk a homeless guy into having dinner with me.
So lonely.
Oh, it's terrible. But this was one take that everybody seemed to think was the best comment on the article. The whole lead-in about how she's not like the poor, stupid, lonely people she imagines to be easily scammed had a certain je ne sais quoi that I instantly clocked as the mutterings of an effete, inbred child of rich people, and my ability to clock that sort of thing from the get is one of the few things I like about myself. Her husband works for a nonprofit. She's 39, but they live in a $4 million house in Prospect Heights. She's related to the Roosevelts. Ivy League's a given, but she feels the need to highlight it on her personal site. A child named Ripley? This whole thing is just another rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic of increasingly hubristic, insulated fail sons and fail daughters are discovering the otherwise object permanence level of obvious lessons the rest of us understood. You think Amazon will white glove you over to the CIA in a few minutes? Tell me you don't do your taxes without telling me you don't do your taxes. This person is so uncalibrated in their ability to navigate the world that their ability to generalize any intellectual output for anyone other than her similarly 0.01% situated friends is completely shot. Let her go, be on the board of some do-nothing charity. The game is up. Oh, this is such a cogent response. Deeply cut. Let's see who the author is. Ah, yes, it's Mr. Piss. A few people are replying to this with y'all, followed by a lecture. And just to be clear, I didn't write this comment. I am not Mr. Piss. You'll likely never see this. I'm not sure who you're talking to. You are Mr. Piss. No. Mr. Piss was my father. Call me Piss Jr. Pee pee poo poo. Fart. Oh. All right. We're gonna wrap this show up right now. Right now. Oh, we didn't even get to talk about how Idaho wants to start executing pedos. Maybe next time.
Time.
But here at the end of the show, we want to bring you our Ice Cold Fact of the Week, coming to you straight from Ice-T himself. Thanks for all the birthday love. It's not how well you're doing, it's how long you're doing well. Every day is appreciated. Ice Cold Fact. And happy birthday to friend of the show, Ice-T. I hope to look so good when I'm so old. And that's our show, folks. That's it. We really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, smash like, subscribe, and share it with all of your friends. If you'd like, you can even follow us on social media. Our social media handles are on the screen. You can follow Adam at Adam S. Furman, me at Zachary W_Clark, or the Triggered Media Twitter channel at @Triggered_Media. Adam! Here at the end of the show, did you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, I did not.
Alright. And with that, that's it. The show is over, and we will see you next time on Triggered. Good night.